Hey everybody, I have a couple of cards to share. I'm putting together some Happy Mail, so thought I'd go ahead and share this so I can send it out, and otherwise I'll forget, and then I will not have shared it with anyone except for the folks that are receiving Happy Mail. So anyway, look at this big mound of scraps on my desk. This is all from die cutting. Let me show you what I used, and then I will show you what I made. So this is a Purple Posy. Is that what they call this? Purple Posy cardstock from Stampin' Up. I used the marker. I believe I used the marker, which I didn't end up using that background, but I used the ink, and my ink pad is still open. And then a dauber to apply the ink. I think I like that one better, so I had used that. These MFT gingham, this is a petite gingham paper pad. I used the purple sheet out of here. Here's another gingham. This is just a tiny check. Again, it had some purples. And then also this one, which is called Just Delightful Stamp. Let's see. Petite Plaid. Okay. So I think I used this one actually. So that's the paper, and then it was all around these layered cover plate dies from Birch Press Design. There's 3 layers. You do not have to purchase all 3 layers because they are sold individually, and it's quite expensive if you were to buy each one of these. But you don't need all the layers to create something really nice. But I have them all, so I, of course, used them all for most of my cards. I will point out which one I didn't use for one of them. This is a sentiment from Paper Tray Ink. It is called Tucked In Thinking of You. And I use this large, it's a really large stamp once you stamp it, but this is the one I used out of the sentiment set. I use this Tailored Expressions Mini Strips Spring, or Mini Strips Easter. I had cut a bunch of these sentiments already, and then I, of course, had to cut some extra strips in pattern paper, so I just tucked them all in here. These are the dies that match the mini strips, but this is the Easter specific one, and there's the backer die that I also used. So those are the different products I used. This is a result of all the die cutting, and you will see it's because each of those cover plate dies has like these tulip cutouts, or it's got the leaf cutouts. So I actually used some of the scraps on my cards, but I wanted to show you that. Here are my cards. So they all virtually look the same. I just want to share with you like the difference. This is the one that does not have all 3 layers. It is missing let's see. It is missing the middle layer. So it is missing layer B from this particular card. And layer B looks like this. So you can see it's got that little tulip that's half cut. That's the reason, that's the difference here. So you can see it. There's no little half cut here. So all I did was take some of my scraps, cut those extra strips. There's the backer die there. This is the sentiment die from Tailored Expressions. And then I took the scraps of the tulips, glued a couple of different layers together, and made it like it was like kind of like a button would be, a little dimensional. So you can see I used some gingham green there for the leaves. The backer is purple. Oh, I didn't show you this front, this cardstock on the front. It's like a pearlized color, and it is from Paper Tray Ink. Now, one of the reasons I have chosen the cardstock I chose is because the MFT paper is lighter weight. I did not want this to be a really thick, super thick card. If I had used the regular cardstock that I normally use, this card would be super thick. It is sort of, because there's 3, you know, layers on most of the cards except for this one. But the MFT paper isn't a cardstock weight. It's very light and it's very thin. So that's one of the reasons why I decided I would go with a pattern paper in here. Plus it looks really cute with at least the patterns. So, and the Stampin' Up! Paper is not 110 pound weight. It is, you know, a lighter weight. I think it's 80 pound. So that's also a nice, you know, add to this, because there are so many layers that you cut out. So this one says Happy Easter. And then here's the next one. Now this is the one where I did include the extra layer. All the other cards include that extra layer that has that half cut of the tulip. And you can see it pretty clearly, right? The paper that I use for that is also the Purple Posy paper. But what I did was I used my ink dauber and my ink to just daub some of that ink onto that portion of the paper. So if you were to look at this purple paper underneath, it would have lots of dots. But just in the spot where you see that little half cut of the leaf for the tulip, that's just like a shadow layer. So I pretty much did the same thing for this. And of course, oh, I didn't show you the inside of the first one, but they all use the same stamp. There's the stamp that I used, the sentiment. So there's that. And I wanted to kind of show you these together because you can see that's missing that little extra layer here. And in the rest of the cards, I used a pattern paper instead of a solid paper to do that little offcut there. So here's the next one. And you can see between these two, this has a purple gingham instead of the solid color. So that's the difference between these two. Of course, the sentiments were different because, you know, I just cut it one time. So Hello Spring. And again, the same sentiments on the inside. So that one, and then the last one I used a different gingham. This one has lots of different colors in it, and you can see it, you know, kind of compare it to the other two. And I used for this green cardstock, which is on these two cards. These two are, again, Stampin' Up! Paper. The Stampin' Up! Cardstock is not 110. It's more probably like an 80 pound, and again, so it's in lighter weight. Versus the 110 that I usually use for my cards. So that does make these a little bit lighter and less thick. So I had to make a couple cards that I want to send out with Happy Mail. And again, I've got all these scraps. You should see my where my die cutter is. But these all came out of the, you know, the different pieces that I was die cutting. And you can see here, like, this one I was going to originally do yellow and pink. This is what it looks like when you put them together. And if you were to put a, let's see, green underneath for the leaves, let me show you that. That's a solid piece right underneath both those two die cut panels. And they're, you know, they're tulips, and there are tulips that are, obviously there are green and yellow tulips. Or green and yellow. Hot pink and yellow tulips, those parrot tulips. That's what I was going to try and do, and that's probably not what color I should have cut this from, but, you know, that's just so you can get a look at the different layers. So those are my cards. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!